It's a good feeling because you know that people admire what you're doing. It's always good to have people looking a positive way to you or transmitting positive things to you. Then if you have a feeling that people are against you, of course, that keeps you happier, that keeps you more natural, and probably helps you doing what you're supposed to do.
When I started with them, I didn't have the cars, the tires were not flat, square. They were a bit round, so I was going like this, you know.
Once again, for him, racing is not meant for the pleasure of driving, but above all, for winning. But to win, one has to apply 3 strict rules. First, work. Second, work. Third, work. People just aren't aware of the amount of work the tuning of a high-performance Formula One requires. They think the practice sessions serve simply as comparative tests to establish the starting grid, but the sessions are only the visible part of a huge iceberg. A Formula One has to be tuned like a musical instrument, like the rigging of a sailboat. One has to consider plenty of elements that interact simultaneously, such as more or less wind for more or less downforce, selecting the tires with more or less resilience according to the condition of the track, adjusting the suspension and the length of the gearbox ratio, and so on. It's never over. Whenever tuning seems right, it has to be tested on the circuit. And to test it, the single-seater has to be driven all out. It's rapidly exhausting for the driver. When the car seems satisfactory, one has to compare its performance with that of its rivals. More often than not, the comparison changes everything, and you have to start from scratch again.
At low rev, 9 to 10 or 10, yeah, 9 to 10 especially, I don't get the boost.
Yeah. What you said, you start the boost, you don't boost.
I would...
Currently, competition doesn't only take place on the track between the drivers. It's a battle between the world's largest car manufacturers, and this battle rages to the utmost limits of the most advanced technologies. Faced with computers reigning like masters in the pits, the drivers have yet to be able to analyze their sensations while learning how to speak the data processing language. This profusion of high technology has only one goal, to race faster than the others. For this, there's a first judgment, that of the timed practice sessions, which designate the pole position, the first place on the circuit. It's something crazy, a sort of medieval tournament between contestants that can't see each other, that pretend not to know each other, that spy on each other through figures that flit by on the screen. It's another exercise apart from racing. This close contest is exhilarating. He can let his opponents disclose their game before the game ends. When the time comes to go, then he gives his all. He is ready to maintain top speed on the razor's edge. That is the price to pay for the pole position. And the pole position is the first rung of the ladder to absolute victory. When he's on pole position, he already has a first sensation of victory.
is right here. It's Ayrton Senna. You've typically done it in the last moment. How difficult was it?
It's never easy, of course, because when you're driving, you have qualifying lap, you drive over the limit.
With this lead position as reward, there comes the real start. And once again, everything passes through his mind during this period of waiting. This seems to last forever before letting her go. Sometimes he's content to merely drive intuitively, instinctively. On the contrary, at other times, he has to drive more with his head than with his senses. As a rule, he has to try to keep the best compromise possible between natural instinct and the technique he has learned. When you work, when you devote all your time to reaching a sole objective that only success can reward, if you fail for whatever reason, then it's a terrible, unpleasant feeling of frustration. That's the most difficult aspect of this job. The only reason to drive a Formula One in a race is to win. Sometimes there's a tense atmosphere, but I've never experienced a moment when we could say the atmosphere was really bad. I think that as in any racing team, there are serious discussions between drivers and technicians about the weak spots of the car. I think it's normal, it's necessary, it's almost wanted.
It's very demotivating. That situation is very difficult to keep up. The main thing is to believe you have the possibility to be competitive. So, even if it's hard, if you know you have a good team, everything that you can fight, it's going to be hard, whatever, but you have the possibility. Then you will feel strong. But if you, before you start a race meeting, you know that race, for any reason, you have no chance to win, then it's very difficult to feel strong, to feel well, to give your best. And then it's the hardest side of my profession, really, because the only reason to drive is to compete and to win. And if before you do it, you don't have no chance to win, a very difficult one, very small one, there's the motivation. Looking to the next one, waiting for the next fight, waiting for the next test, and thinking you have to try again, try even harder, try to learn more to make up the next time.
Yes, the only reason for racing is winning, since victory sweeps everything else away and justifies everything. But winning a race is not enough. Sometimes it's even useless. What matters is to be world champion. It is the only real victory in Formula One. And it is this victory, the greatest victory of his life, that he is still racing for. For 4 years, he's been reaching for the moon. But for the present, he's only seen its hidden face.